Welcome back to Morning Joe. Concern is reportedly growing within former President Trump's inner circle following the special election loss of a candidate he backed in Texas. According to Politico, Susan Wright's defeat in Texas's 6th congressional district on Tuesday, quote, sent shockwaves through Trump's inner circle. Earlier this month, Trump opted to support Wright over the eventual winner of the all-Republican election, Navy veteran Jake Ellzey. The former president's advisors are now reportedly feeling even more pressure to win another special election in Ohio next week. Trump released a statement praising his preferred candidate, lobbyist Mike Carey, on Tuesday. The pro-Trump Make America Great Again PAC also reportedly made a last-minute decision this week to spend $300,000 to bolster Carey's efforts. Trump's advisors worry, according to Politico, that a second loss would raise questions about the power of his endorsement and hurt his standing in the GOP.
You know, Jonathan Lemire, elections happen for reasons. I mean, you never know exactly how much of it comes down to a candidate, how much of it comes down to certain facts on the ground. So usually you can't really take too much out of one race. A lot of Trump's people are blaming the candidate in that Texas race, said she was not as good of a candidate as Ellzey. So that, you know, if he does well in Ohio, if his candidate does well in Ohio, that's a one-off. One thing we do know, though, is this is the sort of thing that drives Donald Trump crazy when somebody that he endorses loses. And I will say, it's not really a story. If he loses a couple in a row, then suddenly those House members and Senate members on the floor start kind of whispering and looking at each other going, is the old man losing his touch?
Right. And it's the possibility of that losing streak that does indeed have the Trump aides worried. I've talked to some of them, too, and they indeed say that they're concerned that they could look like the former president is losing a little bit of his hold on the Republican Party. Now, look, we've all seen the polls. He still does very well. He polls very highly among most rank and file Republicans. And we all remember when he was in office, those tweets, constant tweets, bragging about his endorsement record, about how the vast majority of the candidates he backed in Republican fields went on to win those nominations. There's only a handful of losses during his time in office. But let's also remember this, that while he was president, Republicans, and he was endorsing them certainly in 2018, lost control of the House of Representatives. And then we know what happened in the Senate in 2022 with Democrats gaining control in part because of the former president's own action, or in this case, inaction with those Georgia runoff races. So certainly he does not always have the Midas touch, despite what he would lead you to believe. But this is a test going forward, is that, like, how much of a sway will he still have over Republicans as we start looking at 2022 and as he considers his own possible White House run?
And again, as we're talking about his impact on the Republican Party, it of course the obvious needs to be repeated that under Donald Trump, the Republicans lost the House, they lost the Senate, and they lost the White House. That hasn't happened with a one-term president since 1932, when Herbert Hoover achieved the same really sort of poor record for Republicans back then. So, Mika, I mean, this is the sort of thing. If the president wants to keep Republicans scared and keep Republicans acting craven toward him and keep Republicans in a position where they continually humiliate themselves and put their moral courage in a lockbox, then he needs to show that he can win these races. And if he doesn't, then they'll start moving their own way.